would like to tell you a true story. About 20 years ago, I met someone called Betsy. I was her adult literacy tutor. You see, Betsy had just been demoted after 25 years working at the same job. She couldn't fool them anymore. Betsy did not have the required reading skills that she needed to keep her job, and her supervisor had only now just found out after 25 years. Betsy, like millions of other adults in the United States who have low literacy abilities, was really good at hiding her reading difficulties. She even hid some of her struggles from me. She was always punctual to my class. So of course I thought she could tell time, until I found out that she couldn't. How did she do it? How was she so punctual? This is how she explained it to me. I know that I need to keep my television on all day long. That is how I tell time. I know that for your class, I come during the first commercial break of The Cosby Show. You may find this story interesting, but not anything to do with your life. I'm here to tell you that it has a lot to do with your life. Low literacy impacts all of us. In the United States, a country full of power and resources, 1 out of 6 adults reads at the elementary level. 1 out of 6. And many more read below the high school level. This number includes immigrants, non-immigrants, people who've dropped out of high school, but even high school graduates. You may be thinking, well, I'm sure other first world nations have similar literacy issues. Not true. A recent international study showed that compared to other first world nations, the United States had quite a larger number of adults reading at low levels. How can we continue to be a strong nation when 1 out of 6 adults reads at low levels? 1 out of 6 means that each and every one of you in this audience probably has interacted with someone who has low literacy skills. You just might not know who they are. Because people like Betsy are really good at hiding their reading difficulties, and often they're not very comfortable exposing them. But the next time you go out to lunch with a group of people from work, you might notice someone like Jan. When I went out with a certain group of people, Jan always waited until the rest of us ordered our meals. And then she requested hers, but it was always, without exception, something that one of us had already ordered. Or maybe one of you is a school teacher, and you've noticed that you have a few parents who never, ever respond to written correspondence. And I mean never. And yet when you get them on the phone, they're so involved and so interested and so excited or concerned about what you have to tell them. Good chance that that person has low literacy skills. Or maybe you've experienced something like this. A person coming to you inquiring about a job opening. You give them a job application to fill out, and they leave the room before they even complete the form, saying, "My hand hurts. I forgot my glasses," or some other excuse. The real reason may be low literacy. Should we care about these people? Should we care about the woman who, because of her reading difficulties, unknowingly signs papers giving child custody to her abusive husband? Should we care about the person, because of his reading struggles, gives a scam artist, fills out some kind of form, signs his name, giving his property and money to a scam artist? Maybe. But I bet we all care about the cost to our society. And low literacy costs us. Low literacy impacts our tax base. Educated adults have higher paying jobs, pay more taxes, rely less on public assistance. Low literacy impacts the number of workplace accidents, and it impacts our ability to compete globally. Low literacy impacts our productivity. I once consulted with a taxi cab company. The head of the company had noticed that his dispatchers were spending way too much time on the phone with the taxi cab drivers and not enough time doing other tasks. When he asked them about this, they said, "You might not realize this, but you have quite a few taxi cab drivers who cannot read the street signs when they are driving through unfamiliar neighborhoods. We help them navigate through the streets." Can you imagine being late to a meeting because your cab driver can't read the street signs? It happens. Low literacy impacts our healthcare costs. People who have low literacy skills have higher disease rates and increased use of hospitals. One reason? Doctors are really, really good at giving us written instructions. But they don't often give us explicit verbal directions. And so if you can't read those written instructions, there's a very good chance that you are going to have some consequences, and sometimes they're going to be severe. Sue, a young woman I had taught, she could not read the written instructions that came along with her birth control pills. She thought that she only needed to take a pill right before having sex. You can guess what happened to Sue. The good news is that there are programs that can help adults improve their skills. And those adults who attend them often experience great impact. Jeff, a really hard-working construction worker, he passed his commercial driver's license exam after attending a program. And Brian, a 19-year-old, who after attending a program fell in love with reading for the first time, went to the public library, started to take out books to read, and get this, he even started to take out books to read to children in his neighborhood. You may feel that these people are very far removed from your life, but I bet each of you know someone like Tim. I met Tim years ago in an adult literacy program, and he, like many others, had great coping strategies to hide his reading difficulties until something happened and the strategies began to fail. Tim could have been your neighbor, could have been your jogging partner. His children may have played with your children. Tim read at the 3rd to 4th grade level, and yet he was the head of a branch of his company. Great coping skills. Until one day, corporate office called him up and said, "Tim, it's time to replace your secretaries with computers." Tim panicked. Who was going to read to him his memos? Who was going to take dictation from him? He realized it was time to attend an adult literacy program. He did. His reading improved, and fortunately, he was able to keep his job. The courage of the students that I met inspired me to enter a career of research in adult literacy. Although we know that adults can improve their reading, my colleagues and I are very interested in trying to understand their underlying strengths and weaknesses so that we can better help inform instruction. Adult literacy in general, and especially research, is very poorly funded. And so we still do not know the best way to help adults with their reading. And the literacy services themselves are also poorly funded. We can argue that a focus on adult literacy is a matter of social justice, that every single resident in the United States, whether adult or child, deserves a right to a quality education. But we can also argue that it is a critical investment. A focus on adult literacy provides payback in terms of a competitive global workforce, healthier residents, transfer of literacy across generations, and informed and involved citizens. We simply cannot continue to be a strong nation when 1 in 6 of us, adults, have low literacy skills. Now, some may say that the best approach to tackling the low literacy problem in our country is to focus and to spend our limited educational funding on children. After all, the adults really did have their chance once when they were children. Here's my counter. Did you know that a major determinant of how children do in school is their mother's reading skills? Therefore, if we truly want to invest in our children, and we should, then we absolutely must also invest in the literacy services for their parents if they need them. But the literacy services, as I've mentioned, are just very, very poorly funded. It is not uncommon to hear about adult literacy teachers and students working very hard in less than desirable conditions. The teachers are often poorly paid, have poor professional development, limited resources, and often outdated technology. And get this, the wait lists to get into these programs are often very long. Can you imagine a prospective student getting the courage and finding the time to attend an adult literacy program and being told something like this, which is all too common? Sorry, we don't have space right now, but we'll put you on the wait list. It'll be many months, but we will have space for you eventually. We would never, ever allow our children to wait that long for literacy help. We shouldn't wait that long for our adults. We need to invest in adult literacy research and adult literacy services. There are too many adults in our country who want to improve their literacy skills, and we would all benefit if they do. I believe that we truly can have a literate United States if we believe in all of us.